Hey, heroes, welcome back to another episode. As I thought that since we ended with the Waygate and going into this sort of dark world, what is it we're going through here? This portal in episode 6 of the Wheel of Time, it'd be a good time to talk about just what the Waygate is and what is the ways, right? Because it's kind of this cool thing and it's used throughout the series as a great way to sort of fast travel essentially, right? I mean, it's sort
Yeah.
of like you're playing a video game. It's like, all right, I want to go to this side of the map, click the button, and there we go. It allows them to sort of travel huge, you know, spans of miles in a
Yeah.
short period of time, which is something that happens quite a bit in this series in a multiple of ways. And so you will in this series sort of jump around the map.
Yeah, for sure. So this Waygate is essentially just, I mean, it's within writing distance outside of Tarvalon, and we need to get to the Eye of the World, which is in the Blight. So it's a lot further north, and to get there, we're going to have to travel through the ways. Now, the reason that it was a scene that was cut where in which Loyal was showing them a map, and I believe Moraine was kind of coming to him because he knows how to travel and can navigate the ways because it is something, it was sort of a gift from male channelers during the Age of Legends to the Ogier. So let's just go over the origins real quick. The ways they trace their origins to the time period known as the breaking of the world. It's during this area that the male channelers sought shelter from the influence of the taint placed upon Saidin. Remember, they sealed the Dark One away, but there was a counter strike from the Dark One that tainted the source, the male half of the power. So they are seeking this shelter. So they go to a steading where within an Ogier steading, it would block access to the true source, and therefore they could kind of get away from their madness, if you will, for a time being. So before departing permanently, one of the groups of male Aes Sedai who had studied portal stone worlds during the Age of Legends created the ways as a gift of thanks to the Ogier. By channeling threads of earth and spirit, these men crafted an unknown number of tir'angreal, each known as a talisman of growing. The Ogier were instructed to plant talismans in locations outside of a steading where they would wish to grow waygates and activate the talisman via tree singing. So, and that's a we can get into that later. It's a gift that Loyal has to Treesing. So the subsequent Waygates provided access to a world outside of reality, which linked all Waygates together in an intricate logistical system. Ogier began to grow Waygates outside of all the steadings, thus providing safe methods to travel unaffected by the destruction of the land. As new steadings were rediscovered after the breaking of the world, new waygates were grown outside of these steadings and connected to the existing network. After the breaking, Ogier stonemasons were sometimes called upon to provide services of construction for the new cities of men, and these Ogier would then, travel through those waygates to get to those cities. They also, in case there was something known as the longing, the Ogier would use them to come back quickly to a steading so that way they could kind of heal or avoid the longing, which is a kind of a sickness when they're away from their steading. So really, they're honestly they were a gift to the Ogier, Matt, and it was something that male channelers had created. Now, because the male half of that power was tainted a bit, there's kind of, we saw as they were entering. Did you see how dark this
Right.
was? Right. I mean, Moraine. This is almost a scary thing that they're entering in. It's definitely dangerous.
Yeah, I got a picture of it up here. This is sort of, back in the day, some fan art of what they thought it looked like. It seems like in the show, it's going to be a little bit more. I remember there were some leaked photos, and they have like a lot of trees and stuff like that. So it seems like it's going to be sort of like just a dark, mysterious path. And yeah, there's going to be some stuff in here as that we're going to run into that's a little dangerous. There are some things that really just kind of exist in this
Yeah.
realm, right? If you want to call that, and the Ogier are our sort of guides that will take
Right.
us through this, which is really cool in a lot of ways, no pun intended, because we now get some things where we're beginning to see, hey, as we've seen so far in the show, it seems like the Aes Sedai sort of rule everything. Well, they don't necessarily rule everything.
Yeah, for sure. There's different powers at play, different factions. We did a great video on factions in this world, this universe, this Wheel of Time universe. And so the Ogier are a power to be reckoned with. They have their own steadings. They're outside of the one power, and they have access to the ways. Now, inside the ways, they're actually alive. So no one really understands or remembers how they were originally achieved. They were grown from the one power, and they don't really share the rules of space and time with the world outside. So you can enter the ways, and let's say in a matter of days travel like the distance that it would take you months to travel. So again, we saw earlier in the show they did do a time jump, a 1 month time jump. So here we're basically saying we have to get a long distance and we need to get there quickly. So we're going to enter the ways to do that. Yeah, travelers may walk for a day in the ways and emerge hundreds of miles from their starting location in the outside world. Paths link areas known as islands. Each island contains a navigational marker, a large slab of stone covered in Ogier script called a guiding. The ways used to be well lit by a sun set in a cloudless sky with food bearing trees on the islands. There was grass on every pathway, and all the traveled routes were beautiful. That is definitely not what we saw when Moraine was looking through there, right? It looks super dark and scary and lightning. So they've totally been changed. And let's talk about that. The corruption of the ways.
Right.
Almost 2,000 years have passed since the ways had been have passed, with the ways being an excellent means of transportation for the Ogier. But during the War of the 100 Years, the ways begin to change. Initially, Ogier noticed that the light within the ways was growing dim. Then travelers began to disappear. Eventually, the light in the ways grew so faint that the fruit bearing trees on the islands began to die, soon to be followed by all other growing things. So things are dying off. Ogier began to fear traveling the ways when some emerged crazed. So some of their members would go in, they would travel, they would come out, and they had lost their mind, and they were raving about Machin Shin, the Black Wind. Eventually, the ways became utterly dark, and the stone of the pathways began to pit and rot. So, really bad stuff. It's kind of thought that maybe some of the taint had seeped through the channeling, or that what the male Aes Sedai channelers had done in the ways was eventually corrupted because their half of the power has been corrupted. The Black Wind in the Old Tongue is a force that hunts the ways for anything that is alive. The Black Wind will attempt to attack and devour any creature it encounters, including shadow spawn. So Trollocs and Murdral don't really like to enter there as well, because they will kind of also be consumed by the Black Wind. So that's something to be concerned about as they travel the ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I have a map pulled up here, just to sort of show us exactly where we go. So this is where we started, right? We started in Emmons Field, right? The two rivers, Barrelon, that area. Then we go to Shadar Logoth, right? And then everyone sort of gets split up. Now, Rand, right? We end up kind of, here's Camelin, right? This is we know we in the books we kind of go down that way, but we know that we're sort of around that day. Here's Gillidan,
Mm-hmm.
which is where Logain goes.
Right.
Now remember, they say roughly we're looking at about a month that it takes Matt and
Right.
Rand to get from roughly around here somewhere. They kind of change it a little bit in the book in the show, excuse me, to get from here to here. So you're talking about a month to get from here to here. We're gonna go from the White Tower right here. Here's
Mm-hmm.
Dragon Mount. That's the mountain that Rand sees, all the way to Fall Dara. It seems in like one episode.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's how quickly you can move along the ways.
Yeah, that's really, it's really cool to kind of pull up the map and see that. And I think initially one of our speculation is that they're going to be trying to get to somewhere even further in the Blight, but yet we'll have to divert over to Faldara. So either way, they're trying to travel a really long way. The Eye of the World, where they want to get to, is up in the Blight, but it sounds like they're going to settle for Faldara, or maybe they are going there first. We'll have to see what Moraine has planned. But either way, yeah, we're going to travel quickly. Their need is great, and this group needs to get there quickly so that they can put the dragon in front of the Dark One. So
Right.
Yeah.
exactly, and see what happens.
Yeah. So, anyways, just kind of a quick rundown on the ways. Again, the Ogier can read on the islands. They can read, the stones, and they can navigate those ways. They did use them. They were once glorious and green and rich with fruit and grass and all that stuff. But now we see stone, darkness. The black wind is in there. Guarantee we're going to see the black wind next
Yes.
episode chase them through the ways. So be ready for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so if you guys have any more questions and anything that you've seen in the show that you'd like explained a little bit more, leave us a comment and let us know. We'd certainly be glad to do it. But the Waygate it's on the poster for season 1. It's kind of a big deal. So I expect this next episode to be super, super cool. And it's something that we will be using throughout the rest of the series. And it's going to be really cool. There are other ways that we can travel long distances. I'm sure that will show up in seasons to come, but this is going to be the first one, and we will use it many, many times. So anyway, I appreciate you guys watching, appreciate you guys checking out. Be sure to come back next Thursday at it'll be 4 o'clock for me, it'll be 7 o'clock Eastern, midnight in GMT time, as we do the episode 7 sort of live party hangout as we all watch it together. And we'll see you guys next time. Remember that the grave is no bar to our call.